Well, hello, and welcome back to part 4 of this series. I hope you've enjoyed the first three parts of the series, and I hope you have learned a lot within them to help you get a better understanding of us walking with Christ. Um, I hope it's been simplified into everyday terms to where you can get a clear understanding of it and know where to begin, kind of where to begin, and get started with knowing what maybe some of the questions you may need to ask yourself or those who are Christians already who can help you gain a better understanding, because you don't have to do it alone. There's always someone available, usually within our lives, a guy's placed within our lives, who we can go to get that understanding. So I just pray that you use that lifeline phone call like they do on the game shows, where they get caught up and it's like, I want to call such and such, because you trust that person and feel they have a good understanding of certain areas. So I would encourage you to do that. But here in part 4, now we're going to deal with uh, trusting our physician by taking taking his orders and following what he prescribes. I know a lot of times when I go to the doctor, it's instant when they get to looking at different things, looking at my cholesterol or looking at my weight and different things. I can sit there and deny it all day, but those things tell the facts that I've been eating food that I should not be eating, and that I have not been getting the proper exercise to be able to expand my blood vessels, as I described earlier when the doctor told me about you're trying to force four to eight lanes of traffic through a 2-lane highway when you don't exercise and teach your blood vessels to expand in that way. So I can't deny that I have not been following doctor's orders. It's just there. The proof is there. The facts are there. That's the same way with Jesus. We don't have to, we can sit up and try and fake it, but he knows. That's why it talks about on that day that he would separate the sheep from the goat. As I told you earlier, there's always a distinction placed between those who are going and those who are not, those who are acceptable and those who are not, those who are in the positive side, those who are in the negative side. He talks about the sheep and the goats. He talks about the wheat and the tare. He talks about the differences between them. And so he knows we can't fool him, just like you can't fool your doctor when you go in there and they tell you that your bad cholesterol is up. I can't sit there and say, I'm sorry, you have that wrong. I don't know where you're getting that from, because I've been eating very healthy. I haven't been eating any fried food. You know what? I'm offended. I'm offended and you're judging me. We don't do that because we know the tests don't lie. So that's the same way within our spiritual walk. Jesus knows whether or not we are following him, because as I told you earlier, he's going to tell some, depart from me, you workers of iniquity, I never knew you. And he's going to tell others, well done, thy good and faithful servant. So he's already made a distinction. So there are other times when I've gone to the doctor and I've gotten rave reviews like I was in a blockbuster movie or something. Hey, your counts look great. Whatever you're doing, keep it up. Because my counts show that I've been exercising, or my counts show that I've been eating properly. And that says what? That says that I'm healthy and that I need to keep up the good work. But when I get that other report, that says that I haven't been doing too good and I need to get on track. So the question is, are you going to take your doctor's orders? Now, I've found that the biggest situation to whether or not people can follow what the Bible is teaching and get on track with becoming a faithful Christian is, a lot of times they don't know what that is. They don't know what to do and things like that. But as I said in part 3, first of all, you need to realize what that means. That means that you are getting away from who you were, the things you used to do, the way you used to behave, how you saw things, what you listened to, all those things. When you realize that up front, that all these things are about to change and all these things need to change, then you can sit back and say to yourself, why does why do those things need to change? Why do I need to change what I'm listening to, what I'm watching on TV, where I go, how I behave? Well, I'm glad you asked that question. Once again, I'll use marriage as an example. Now, when I got married, that meant that many things had to stop right then and there. And other things have we've learned as we've gone along in our journey in marriage. Number one, certain things that need to stop or cannot even be a part of our marriage. Number one, no one can have a boyfriend or a girlfriend on the side. You can't just sit up and tell your wife, hey babe, I'm trying to better myself and cut these other women loose. No, that's a deal breaker right then and there. You had better stop. Once you decide to get married, everything else goes out the window. She is the only one till death do you part. That's marriage. She's not going to accept anything else. And you're not going to accept anything else either. So that's the reality of what has to stop. We're not going to work on this. We're not going to work towards it. This has to stop. That cannot be a part of marriage. Physically harming one another, that cannot be a part of your marriage. At no time is it okay to decide, you know what, I'm going to hit somebody upside the head. Or you know what, she's getting on my nerves, let me slap her and get her back on track. That's just foolishness. At no point, I know we get upset. I know sometimes we say things we don't mean to say. Sometimes we get emotional. But at no point in time is that acceptable within a marriage. And so that's the same thing within our walk. You have to look at those things the same way. It's not acceptable for us to be listening to a song that is degrading women and using vulgar language and talking about killing and different things like that. Why? Because we are on something more positive. We are about trying to help save lives. So why should we steady be feeding our mind songs about negative things, killing people, having sex outside of marriage, just selling drugs, all these different things, or just partying to excess? Why should we be feeding our minds those things? That's what you'll understand. So once again, accepting our doctor's orders is us accepting what he's telling us to do. And those things we need to change. Sometimes it's not easy. But just the fact that you know that these things are unhealthy, that's where you begin. That's where you begin following doctor's orders, when you know what is healthy and unhealthy. So you have kind of a grid to follow. It's laid out there. Why should I not be listening to this music? I just told you. Why should I not be watching these movies or these shows? Because they're promoting sexual immorality. They're promoting things that go against God and what he teaches. So it's just like, once again, being married. This is a marriage. When we become Christians, we become the bride of Christ, as it says in the Bible. It says he is the bridegroom and the church is his bride. So that means that we are faithful to one another. Why would I be watching or listening to things that talk about people cheating on their spouse? Why would I want to fill my head with that? I want to be as faithful to my wife as possible, and I want her to do the same. So it doesn't make sense for me as a married man to be going to the club with all my friends who consider themselves players. Because what are they up in there to do? They're up in there to drink and smoke and go chase women to see what they can get. I'm married. So why would I put myself in that environment? So this is what it means to follow doctor's orders, because they tell you, hey, don't eat these certain kind of foods because this is what it's doing to your veins, to your heart. Don't you want to live and be healthy, to grow old with your wife or your husband and see your kids grow up and be able to be around to be with your grandkids? And we all shake our head, yes. But that's not good enough. We have to be able to say, hey, I know it's going to be hard. I know I don't understand it. I know I don't, some of it I don't even agree with. Be honest. Be honest. You're not going to agree with all of it up front. I went through that myself. So I'm just being honest about it. Some of it you're not going to agree with. Some of you not going to like it. Some of them you're going to be upset about it and not want to let it go. And then he'll put you in situations to where you'll see why you need to let it go. But that's the thing, just being in that position to where he can have you within a struggle, where he has you between a struggle of letting it go or keeping it. Because unless you're in a struggle, the devil has already won. But when you get into that struggle to say, hey, I love eating this food and it's just so tasty and everything. Oh, I've been eating this all my life, but the doctor said I gotta let it go, but I don't want to let it go because then, I won't be able to eat that good food all the time. But if I don't let it go, then I'm going to continue to clog up my arteries and I'm going to have a heart attack and I could die. So how good is it? That's where the struggle comes in at. So that same thing. I want to look at these movies. I want to go to these clubs. I want to do this. But I really want a better relationship with my wife. I really want to be a better father, better parent. But I still like these things that are not beneficial to my marriage. So now you got to decide. Do I want a better marriage? Do I want a better life for myself and my children? Or do I want to hold on to my player card knowing I'm not a player anymore? That doesn't make sense to continue to hold on to that. So once you start that struggle and realize why you need to let go of this so you can gain this, now you're where you need to be. You need to look at it like this. It's like being on the monkey bars. When you are on the monkey bars, everybody knows that you grab one and you swing forward and you grab the other. Only way you keep going forward is you grab the next and let go of the other one and grab the one in front of you. But if you just hold on to those two and you're not willing to let go of, you're going to hang there until you run out of strength and you fall. That's the only way it goes. Either you move forward or you stay in one spot and you fall. Because monkey bars are not designed for you to just hang on to one or two rungs. It's designed for you to grab one to the next, till you get to the end and you say, success. I made it from that end to this end. And it's just that simple. So, for you to acknowledge this sickness with sin and to come to God, to where you get into His Word, you start going to church to start getting an understanding of it, and realize that when you come to God and acknowledge that you are sick with this sin nature and you repent of the life you were living and acknowledge, hey, I need to be doing something different, and find out what that difference is, then you can get where you're going. And you can go from being the sick to being healthy, meaning you are following Him, and then you can help Him. As He sent the disciples out later on, 2 by 2. And He sent them out there to start preaching the gospel. He told them, take the gospel into the world and make disciples as you go. So It's not as complicated as it seems. It's just about taking the time and realizing what's going on inside of you, what you need to move away from, and understanding why, and understanding what you are moving towards. And it's just that simple. So I pray that this series was helpful. I pray that it kind of broke things down where it's more understandable in plain language, to where you were able to see what's really going on within Christianity as far as being able to get started. Doesn't give you all the answers up front, but it's a journey worth going on. It's just like when you get married. You don't know how things are going to go. But normally when you stand to take your vows with your future spouse, you're believing one thing, that I am here to give my all, and I believe they will do the same. And so whatever we come up against within life, I'm believing that we will weather the storms together until death do us part. So I hope you enjoyed the series, and I hope it was able to give you a little clarity and help you get that much closer to getting your walk started. So you have a blessed day, and I will see you on the next series. Just stay tuned. There's more to come. God bless.